Hey there guys, welcome back to another video on my homemade generator setup I have created. For anyone that is a returning viewer, you would know that this is nothing new with making an update video on this generator. However, for anyone that is new here, this is my generator I've constructed. I took a portable generator. This specific one is an inverter generator to ensure that I have very clean power that can safely run electronics and doesn't create any flicker with LED lights. And I installed a automatic starting module on that generator that will automate its starting and stopping process. Now I've paired that with an automatic transfer switch, which I've added some of my own time-delayed relays, never changing the principles of how it was created to ensure that there is an interlocked system, but just to add some different time-delayed sequences involved with that transfer process. In doing all that, I've created a fully automatic generator, but by making a homemade system, it's not perfect. And you guys would know that if you've been watching the channel, that there have been plenty of videos on this generator with creating it how I need it to be. We started off with just getting it going, and then throughout the months of having this, we have made many little adjustments to make it just the way that I need it. Now I've been working my way down the priority list. What I mean by that is we started off at the top fixing the biggest issues that were really a problem with this, and now we're getting to smaller and smaller issues. Today's issue that I have fixed is a very rare case. This only happens maybe once every 20 or 30 attempts of starting it, and it would actually never happen if I follow my rule that I try and set for myself of starting this weekly. However, sometimes that doesn't happen and it sits for weeks without running, and that's when this problem becomes a problem. And then again, that's only occasionally. It's not a very common problem, but it's still one that we did have every once in a while, so I wanted to fix that. Now this is actually my second attempt at making this video. I made it the first time and it didn't render right, and I had already gotten rid of my files and I thought it rendered right, so I deleted them, and it turns out it didn't, so I lost that one. That one I actually showed the process of installing this new relay I've added. Let's first get an idea of what actually the problem is. So the auto starting controller needs to realize once the generator is running, because how it works is after our 10-second delay of power being out, it'll start turning the engine over, and the engine should start there. But sometimes it doesn't, and I believe it'll crank the engine over for 8 seconds or so, and if it doesn't start then, it will pause for 10 seconds before cranking it again. It goes through 3 cranking cycles before giving up and giving a message saying the generator has an issue and it failed to start. So where's the issue with that? Well, the way that it knows the generator is running is by a 120 volts input from the generator. So plugged in with just a cord to the generator's output is a 120 volt cord that goes into 2 terminals on this generator controller. And once it starts the generator, it will get 120 volts there and realize the generator is running. So the issue is if the generator comes close to stalling, it never actually stalls out. And that's why this isn't a huge deal, because the generator always will start and give it power. I've never had an issue where the generator hasn't started or has fully stalled, but it's not really a stall. It's more of a loss of RPM where the generator will shut off power for a second to protect anything powered from it from any undervoltage, which obviously isn't good. So what will happen is if the generator hasn't been ran in a long time and the generator controller starts it, the generator will begin to run, and after a few seconds of running, it will put out power, but sometimes the RPM will drop down, and the generator itself, for a undervoltage protection, will shut off that power for a second, and then the generator will usually by then restabilize and then be fine to put out power. The problem is that generator controller briefly got 120 volts for a second and then lost it, and it handles that by not then understanding that the generator actually came back to life and is running. Therefore, once the power outage is restored, the generator will not shut down. It'll just run indefinitely until I go into the app and manually stop it, or it runs out of fuel, or I go hit the stop button on the generator. One of those 3 options. Now, maybe that could be fixed through the software on it, the programming, I don't know. But I just decided to go about it a different way with adding a time-delayed relay. So I'll get into how I did that. To begin with, time-delayed relays are something I've implemented in many areas of this generator system. They are a really awesome type of relay that can be used to automate things the way you need them, and I find them extremely useful for different sequences of events to adjust the timing on them. Now, I have this one set to only around 2 seconds. Now, I will play a video in a bit which will explain why 2 seconds is fine. So, the way that's set up is once the generator starts putting out power, it will not actually get to that controller until the relay closes in, and that time delayed relay is set to around 2 or 3 seconds. So the power has to be on and stable for 2 to 3 seconds before it's given to that controller. Now, that is enough time, because any time that the generator does ramp up and then goes into a stall, it will not actually be providing power for more than like half a second or 1 second. So if it has to be giving power for a steady 2 to 3 seconds, it won't ever get it if it stalls out, and it won't actually get the power until it's recovered from that stall or RPM loss, whatever I should refer to it as, and then it will get the power. Now you might be thinking, well, then the generator controller will have a delayed response to knowing the generator is running, and that is correct, it does. However, that's okay, because the generator controller will crank it over for around 8 seconds, and it won't actually try to engage the starter motor for another 10 seconds if it hasn't seen it's running. Now 10 seconds gives us plenty of time to play around with. So it already takes about 2 to 3 seconds for the generator to actually output power. So that chews up 3 of our seconds, and then if we have our time delayed relay set to another 3 seconds, then that's basically 6 after the generator engine actually is running, which then that gives us about 4 seconds of safety room for the generator controller to get its signal, know the generator's running, therefore not engaging the starter again. So let me actually play a video here of one of the times the generator failed to start. Well, I shouldn't say that. The generator started and it went into almost a stall, but it recovered from it. So is what kind of happened there is it started the engine, gave power for a second, which you'll see the light come on, and then it lost RPM and then came back after it recovered from it, which that confused the controller. Therefore the generator controller thought there was an issue with it, so basically it saw that power was lost, but then it doesn't have the ability to really see that power has came back after that. So that's what we're fixing here. So I'll play this video now and you can take a look at it. Alright, so hopefully that sort of shows what we're trying to fix here. So let me actually open the generator up and I'll show you what I've done. So what I've done here is added a time delayed relay inside of this box here. This is the box that houses the generator controller inside of there. So this right here is the second time delayed relay I have just added. So this cord comes in from here off of the generator, and that is what gives this its running signal. So the cord runs into this side of the relay right here, and you can see the neutral jumps right over and goes into here where it gets its 120 volt sense. But the hot comes into this side of the relay. This is the normally open side of the relay, meaning when the relay doesn't have power, it's opened. So our hot, where it comes in from the cord there, it is jumpered over from that hot into this terminal, which is your common on the relay. And you can see here that relay is set to around 2 to 3 seconds. So that's how long the power has to be on this relay for before the relay closes, and it gives the power here into there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start up the generator. I can start up through the app or from actually pulling the power. I'm not sure which one I'll do, but then what I'll do is I'll bring up the generator app on my phone here. So if we go to our generator app, it's already up all the way. This one here, we can see right now the generator is in standby mode, but it's off. So you will see that you will have a 10-second delay, then starting, and then once our 120 volts goes through, once that relay closes in, then this will show that generator is running. We won't need this open anymore, however, as there's nothing else to see. I've showed you all that's going on in there. And we can close this back up to limit our noise. It has once again been over a week since I've started this thing. I seem to be notorious for forgetting to start it, and I gotta get better at that. I was doing good at it, but now I'm done bad at it. So I think I'm going to start it through the app. Now the only difference starting it through the app is we won't get a 10-second delay, because I give a brief sequence of events for anyone that hasn't seen this. Is we wait 10 seconds before we start this after a power outage, and there's actually a time delayed relay in the transfer switch that once this is all good putting out power, the actual transfer switch inside will wait around 3 to 4 seconds before throwing that load on it to give it some time to stabilize. And then on the other end of things, once power has came back on, we won't switch over back to utility power until that utility power has been there and stable for at least 20 seconds. And then we have about a 3-second neutral delay. That is your time in between power sources. So after coming off of generator power, we'll actually go without power for about 3 seconds, and then we'll close on to utility power. So that's all done with relays, where one's waiting like 20 seconds and then the other's waiting like 25. I have full videos on setting up all that, so we do have a little bit of a neutral delay, which is good to have that neutral delay for sure. And then we wait 2 minutes for the actual generator itself. That was more referring to the transfer switch. Generator itself will wait 2 minutes after power failure before shutting back down. I've got videos of actually showing that all in action though, so I don't think I need to show it in this one. So we will bring up our app here, and what you'll want to watch the LED on the generator and versus this actually coming on. It is a sunny day, so it's going to be a little bit hard to get these to both show up, because I do want to be able to show that light for sure. So I will hit start here. That light came on, but this hasn't got it yet. Boom, a couple seconds later, this gets a signal that the generator is running. So hopefully that demonstrated it, where you could see that this was first starting the generator, and then once the generator had started, after a couple seconds until the generator puts the power on, it kind of does its own self-check, where it makes sure that the power is stable before it puts it out. After a couple seconds of the generator doing its own thing, it will then put power out on all of its power outputs, whether that's the 20 amp receptacle, is a 30 amp twist lock, or the 50 amp stove plug. After a couple seconds, you see that light come on, because that light is directly ran off the power of the generator. However, you could see that the generator controller on my phone was actually waiting. It didn't actually know the generator was running yet, because it was still in that 10-second delay. Basically 10 seconds of cranking it before stopping for a period. I said earlier it was 8 seconds. I think it might actually be 10 now that I saw that, but you saw that it hadn't realized the generator was running yet, even though that light was on and it's putting out power. That's exactly because of that relay that didn't give it power yet, because the relay itself is time delayed, waiting 2 to 3 seconds before allowing that power to go through into the module to show that the generator is running. But then after that couple seconds, the generator came to life. This wasn't one of those cases where it stalled out. Like I said earlier, that's a very rare thing to happen. However, it is something that I still want to fix. However, if it had stalled, it given power for less than 3 seconds. Therefore, the relay wouldn't have had solid power long enough to close in. The generator would have kind of sagged down in RPM and voltage. However, it would have then stabilized, and then after a few seconds, it would have been putting out power for the relay to close in, tell the module it's running. Hopefully that makes sense. We can shut this back down though now. And there you have it. So I don't need to make this video any longer, as I think I've already explained this for quite long. I'm really bad about rambling on about this sort of stuff. Some people really hate it and get upset about it that I make these videos too long, but then others, if I don't explain it enough, people ask questions. So I'd rather give all the information I can, and if people want to skip through, well then that's their option. So I hope that sort of explains what is done. I hope I didn't miss anything with the confusion of me recording this before, so I'm thinking in my head I've said it before when I have, but not actually made it into a video. So that's what I think I need to explain without going too extra. It is a little bit of a complicated thing. This whole generator setup, I'm not gonna lie, it is complicated, and it keeps getting more and more stuff added to it to make it better, make it exactly how I want it. So with that comes some complexity of installing all these different relays and that sort of stuff. But I think with every video of this, I make it slightly better. And who knows which is going to be the last update on this, because that's sort of half the point of making this my own, is it's been such a good learning experience to learn how all these different things tie into each other and play a crucial role in making a automatic generator system that is reliable and can function to the best of its ability, and I can create something to work the best that I can. So I never know when I'm going to stop improving this, because I always find new little things that can be made better. Anyways guys, with all that said, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you do have any comments or questions, feel free to leave those down in the comment section down below, and if you do enjoy my channel, make sure to subscribe. Also, if you are interested, I do have an Instagram account at Pickle700 for bonus content posted earlier than you see it on the YouTube channel, that sort of thing. Alrighty guys, thanks for watching.